Welcome back to Music Theory Logic. Andrew here, and today is Making It From Scratch number 15, I believe. It's hard to keep track of the number, but I feel like I've been hitting a stride. I've made all sorts of different styles of music. If you would like to see me attempt to make a style, I don't claim to be the expert really at any style, but I always try my best. Just leave it in the comments. Today, I'm just going to kind of start by building something, a sound in SERUM, a pluck arpeggio with some moving textures, and we'll kind of go from there. So let's go ahead into the logic session. So here we are in pretty much a default instance of Logic Pro. It's still even at 120 beats per minute, which most of these DAWs will start with. I'll kind of begin there, but since we're in MIDI using a computer, this is all fluid, so we can change the speed, which is really, really cool, and why one of many reasons for why I fell in love with writing music on a computer. I still love writing music with my guitar or outside of the computer, but this is fun, especially for exploration, since you don't have to practice what you're charting in. So first of all, this is not going to sound very good. I'm going to chart an arpeggio in to this default instance of SERUM. So this is literally a blank sound. We're going to build something interesting there, so bear with me. So let's keep it somewhat simple. Let's turn this down. I'm going to, let's write an arpeggio. So I'm going to write like an A minor arpeggio, A, E. Cool. Then let's go to like an E minor. So A minor has ACE, E minor has EGB. That would be the natural chord found in the key of A minor. If we wanted to mimic some fur release like Beethoven, we could go with the G sharp. Let's go to an F major 7. And then finally, maybe a D minor. Go to the. All right, so bear with me. It's going to sound a lot cooler very quickly. So the first thing you can do to make a pluck, you can use an envelope in any synth. So if I were to like do this, it's going to instantly become more of a pluck. Now, one of the ways I prefer doing that now is to use an LFO. So you can put this on envelope mode. Just allows us a little bit more customization in terms of the shape. Shout out to one of my favorite bass music producers of all time, Kill the Noise. I've mentioned this before on this kind of technique, but he's where I remember first sort of learning about using the LFO like this. So now I can use that to control the level of this wavetable. Now let's pick a more interesting wavetable, cymatics FM. Kind of cool, arcade-ish. We can have that wavetable move a little bit so the sound changes. All right, we can add some very, very subtle FM synthesis. Just a little subtle texture there. All right, let's use our sub oscillator for like a triangle wave. Go back, make sure we make that a pluck. Cool. Now, for some of the madness, we're going to automate some effects parameters. Add a third LFO in here. Put that to envelope mode as well. Maybe do something with a chorus. And let's turn that off from trigger mode. Pretty cool. Let's tie that to the mix of the reverb. Cool. And then finally, let's put all that through a delay. Now we could perhaps filter all of that. Cool. All right, let's bring that sort of sample that we just made to life. So first of all, we could add the same chord progression. We could do it on whole notes. So once again, that first chord was an A minor. So A, C, and E. Let's go into Iris and pick a sound. Go into pads. Some of these are super dissonant, so. Cool. So I could voice the whole chord in, but I feel like that's going to be a little bit too. I feel like it's kind of cooler to let the arpeggio add that third in. And we could do the same thing, not have the A, have the C and the E in. Fill in. All right. With something like that simple, we can really develop it a lot. So we could add a bass line in. We could do I mean, you can always do root position movement. So like taking the low note that I have here. Let's open up. Razor by Native Instruments has one of my favorite subs. It happens to be called something humorous. It's called Punch in the Balls, but it's pretty sweet, just hard-hitting sub. Now the cool thing about the MIDI world is I could just change the tempo and it's gonna work because everything's MIDI. If that's too fast for you, we could take advantage of Logic's automated MIDI functions. So if I grab all this MIDI, go to Functions, MIDI Transform, half speed, I say Operate, all those are going to be quarter notes instead of the eighth notes we had. Now we could sort of repeat that perhaps to fill it in. Oh. No, so we did halftime, but we wanted to change on the same timing. So I have to come in here, move this to beat 2. Grab these. So it matches that chord progression. And what could be kind of fun is we could go back into these two. Go to double speed, so back to where it was. Grab these, move them back into time, duplicate our patch, have that lower. We could come into this SERUM and maybe detune it a little bit. Also use that for a different sound if we wanted to. Like for instance, on this Mellotron. So this Mellotron is a really cool, it's like an original sampler. So the way I understand that this worked is every note had a tape player essentially that you could load actual tape-based audio to. One of my coworkers at a music school, Mark Boyce, a prolific session keyboard player, wanted to get one of these. So I'll get him one if the channel blows up. So hit that like and subscribe button to make that happen. So let's go into like chamber strings. Kind of cool. I feel like it might be better on the chords. So let's say it's this. Making from scratch, 15. Give it a second. All right, we're back. All right, in the interest of time, I like to keep these pretty concise for you. Let me know if you'd like to see more in-depth versions of these, but I'm going to kind of go at everyone's speed. Let's go to a default patch. I'm going to use a basic built-in Logic drum machine to program in our drums. I'll use the Boutique SP12. All right, drums 101. Your tempo will really dictate and the style of music you're making, where you put these hits. I could add some syncopation in there. Let's start with just a quarter note hi-hat. cool. And then the bass. So we can have our bass in there for sure. If we do like long notes like this, it's going to make it much more sort of atmospheric. If I take this and I come in and I could like mimic what our kick drum is doing. We could add some extra syncopation in there. We could add some subtle pitch bend just to give this a little bit more life. So like we could go up slightly at the end of, or at the almost end of the phrase, and then go down. So I should kind of match that rhythm we added in. All right, cool. Let's take this and bring in our other sound. Let's do some filtering. So add a low pass. Automate the high cut frequency. Cool. This one feels like future trap or something like that. It feels really kind of weird, almost like it would work in a video game level or something like that. But you saw it here live. Once again, if you find these helpful, you would help me out a lot by subscribing to the channel. I'm really working on getting this channel monetized. That will definitely help my monthly hustle for the whole family. So I appreciate every like and subscribe. If you have any questions or want to chat music or anything, leave a comment. I'm going to play this from the beginning. I know it's not the most sophisticated, crazy instrumental in the world, but neither are lots of the songs that we enjoy listening to. This would definitely need some sort of vocal or more development, but without further ado, here is our little loop instrumental thing we made from scratch, including building the sound from scratch. So pretty proud of that. Here we go. Very cool. So hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, once again, you'd help me out a lot by subscribing to the channel. If you come across any of these videos, leave a comment or comment on new videos if you want me to keep working on these. I have one of the making it from scratches. So my main goal with this was to come across techniques that you might find enjoyable, show you kind of how I approach music production and Logic, especially when I'm trying to be super efficient and fast. And then on top of that, I wanted to make ideas that perhaps I enjoy and want to actually finish, like songs, like the pieces of art that music should be. And so making it from scratch, number 11, which was pretty simple. I'm working on it with a singer. It crashed my session, which is what one of my last videos was about. But anyway, thank you for hanging out with me. Have a wonderful day. Go make some music, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.